Everybody, we are back. It is Taped on Live, favorite Raiders podcast, favorite Raiders channel, favorite Raiders everything. We are back. You guys already know what to do. Hit the subscribe button, subscribe. Hit the like button if you like it. Hit the dislike button if you don't like it. Leave a comment if you like it. Leave a comment if you don't like it. Also, follow us on Twitter at DMarkJohnNFL for me, at BDWilliams18 for BD. And, of course, hit up pandasubs.com. Panda Subs for everything. Protein, all that good stuff, some sleep aid, whatever you need there. Go to pandasubs.com. Use TDL for discount code 35% off. BD, today we're doing more day two, guys. We're focusing on Tre Tucker and Bryon Young. So basically, guys that make more, who have a chance to make an impact year one. The other guys that probably won't see as much, right? So So I think this kind of like, covers up day two and a lot of those top 100 players, top 100 picks that they had. So we're doing some Tre Tucker and some Bryon Young today. And of course, the biggest news out there is the Davante Adams comments. So we'll definitely talk about that in a second. But
let's talk about it. Let's just jump into it. We can start the intro the episode off, and the opening segment can be about some Raiders rumors and gossip and all that stuff. And Davante Adams, he said something interesting, right? You got the quote here for the listeners.
Yeah. So it's kind of interesting. You should look at this whole thing. So. Because, really the segment that got all of the buzz going was the Jimmy Garoppolo segment. He was talking about Jimmy Garoppolo. We could try to slice it apart. We could say it's the offense. We could say whatever. But, this was a Jimmy Garoppolo part of the article. Because so Adam says he's talked a bit with Garoppolo. He's a really cool dude talking to him. I really haven't been around him enough to truly to know what type of leader he is. I've only heard good things from his teammates, though, so that's a good thing because it's guys that I know wouldn't mess around with stuff like that. But then here we go with the spicy stuff. But Adams has reservations about the Raiders' vision for the offense. The front office thinks this is the best bet for us right now to put us in a position to be urgent. We don't see eye to eye on what we think is the best for us right now. And then he said, I'm going to have to buy into this and try to be optimistic as possible. It's not what I expected to happen, but it's something that's reality now. Now, I think the key part of this article after this, though, is how it just goes in on Jimmy Garoppolo after that. So after signing Garoppolo earlier this spring, both general manager Dave Sleeker and McDaniels listed the quarterback leadership winning record as the primary reasons why they pursued him in free agency. Familiarity with McDaniels' preferred style of offense is part of it, too. Garoppolo was one of the NFL's most efficient passers during his tenure in San Francisco. He gets rid of the ball quickly and is most effective on short passes in the middle of the field. But Garoppolo is not a downfield passer. His limited mobility, his inability to consistently create plays out of structure could limit Adams' opportunity as a deep threat receiver. But Adams is positive,
yes,
right? And then he says, it all depends on the style of ball that we play. If we play a certain brand of ball, I can get Garoppolo to conform to whatever. But if we use him to a certain type of way, that it's going to make it tough for us to maximize who we should be this year.
Well said, Davante. It's definitely. It just goes back to they did everything that they could to court this guy and bring him over to the Raiders. And part of the deal was you're playing with this quarterback that you've known for a long time and you played with him before. Okay, that's a deal. It's professional sports. It's the same pickup, right? And so that's why they brought Davante Adams over, and then they pulled the rug out from under him. So he's definitely warranted to voice some concerns at the very least. Obviously, he came over, and then they are literally tearing the place down the year after he came over. Like at that point, I'm sure Davante Adams might be second guessing himself, like, why did I come over here in the first place? Mm-hmm. So him saying, I got to try to be optimistic and everything like that. Yeah, obviously, you're just going to go in there and try to ball out no matter what. Yeah. But yeah, he's saying what we as fans, and we're not the only ones. TDL's not the only ones that have been saying this, but he's saying what we as fans have been saying from the beginning is we're questioning the direction. We just don't see it, right? It's not, a lot of these pieces, we're putting them together and we're trying to figure out this puzzle, and it just doesn't have any vision. You can't see where these guys are trying to go here with a lot of their moves. So I would tend to agree with what Davante Adams is saying, and I would even say that the only thing I don't agree with is him being optimistic. So.
Because I think the focus for most people is the last quote is my goal is to win a Super Bowl with this team. That's why I didn't come here to compete with Derek. And I think that's kind of like the main focus of people like, oh, he's loyal. And I get that. But I think the main part of this is just like that he came out and kind of went in on a little bit on the quarterback. And first of all, I think the quarterback kind of took some shots here, like a lot. Like there's a lot of shots here. There's a whole paragraph about his lack of ability, and then followed by comments by Davante Adams. So obviously that was kind of the focus here, is that he's moving on to a different quarterback that he's not comfortable with. He doesn't see them winning with that quarterback. And we could, flip that, spice it however you want it, and make it, spice it up and try to say he's not asking for a trade or whatever. But obviously he was not a fan of bring in that quarterback in that they brought in for the reasons that was listed in the article, because obviously the article just didn't get that from anything, right? So that's kind of what it is. And I think a lot of people don't look at the football aspect of this. I think they're kind of just, stuck with the loyalty thing. And the football aspect of this is basically what he said is like, there's really not a huge plan here. Like, I mean, we're going to talk about Tre Tucker today. Like they drafted Tre Tucker. It was like, okay, I mean, but you have like Myers and Renfro. And so what is your plan for, you know what I'm saying? And like, how is Davante Adams going to get the ball?
A million slot receivers. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. And Davante Adams is one of them.
Right.
He's one of them, right?
Well, that's where he's going to get his looks in this offense with this quarterback. That's where he's going to get his looks for sure.
Yeah. And are they going to try to fit him in there to get him inside more? Or are they going to keep him outside of X, trying to do fades and stuff? And is Jimmy Garoppolo going to make an alert and try to throw a fade to Davante Adams? We don't know that. I mean, it's not something he's done on the fly since he's been a quarterback in the NFL. He's kind of just done what the coach has wanted him to do.
He doesn't. They don't check to a fade when they got a single high in that offense, do they? I don't really see them do that.
I mean, in this offense, they do. Yeah.
No, in over there in San Francisco.
No. I mean, there's alerts in the West Coast offense, but it's nothing like this one.
This is different. Oh yeah.
Yeah, and that's why Adams even said that, like, if I can conform him, which means if like we can do our thing out there and we can go out there and just play, and like if you see I have a 1-on-1, you're gonna throw me the football. Yeah, we can make it work. But if you're gonna, run the play, right, then it might not work like how he thinks it's gonna work. So
people have to realize this. When Davante Adams came up in the NFL, he came up with Aaron Rodgers, and his coach was Mike McCarthy. And it was like the most famous instance of a quarterback not listening to his coach, right? Like Rodgers would be out there just be like, nah, like just waving the plays. Like, don't tell me, don't run the play into me. Don't talk to me in the headset. Me and Davante, we got a thing going on. Like we're gonna make this happen. And there was a lot of like nonverbals and hand signals between them, and that was the offense. It was almost like these guys just drawing it up in the sand out there, right? And that was a big chunk of their offense. And Aaron Rodgers is known for being a guy who, especially at that stage, like late in the McCarthy years, like the guy wouldn't do the play that was called. He's improvising and waiting, hold on, and all that stuff. So that's where Davante Adams learned NFL football. He was watching the quarterback and the coach disagreeing, and the quarterback saying, "Hey, screw all that. Me and you, we're doing this together," right? So that's how Davante Adams came up in the NFL. He wanted Derek Carr to do that last year. We saw them trying to work that. It didn't look that great, right? And now he's like, great, now I got to try this again with Jimmy Garoppolo, because this is the brand of football that I play. This is how I'm Davante Adams. I got to have a quarterback that's on the same page with me out there, right? So that's what he's talking about with the conforming thing. And I agree. I mean, like, what are the chances that Jimmy Garoppolo is all of a sudden going to be the guy that's improvising and hand signals, and Josh McDaniels is like throwing his clipboard down like that? We're not going to see that with Jimmy Garoppolo. Let's be honest.
No, we're not at all. We're not, that's kind of the point that I think was trying to make it this article, but a lot of it too. I always talked about how Adams is a little bit of a diva too. And I think that really came across in this article too. Like a little bit of his diva attitude. I think even the commenting on the offense is a little diva-ish. So a little bit.
Wideouts are divas, okay?
I know, but
if they're not, watch out. That guy, he might rob you. Okay, so the divas are look. They're either divas or they're Marvin Harrison. Okay, like you got to be careful with the ones that aren't.
Yeah, for real. I mean, really how it is for real.
I'm not mad at a wide receiver who's a diva. Okay, I just don't want offensive lineman divas or anything like that. But I mean,
wide receiver divas. Okay, all right.
Wide receiver divas. That's all right. That's all right.
Yeah, because this was very I don't know. It felt like a very like Terrell Owens. I wouldn't say it's like that far, but it's just
not
something
he
would
not
say.
That far.
Something he would say.
Not that far.
Like they brought in Jimmy Garoppolo. Like, what is this? I mean, we're gonna win. Like, it is just kind of crazy to say.
Talk to me when Davante Adams does the interview in his driveway doing sit-ups without a shirt on, okay? and then he gives a little hot take about Jimmy Garoppolo. Then we can say he's on TO status. That's my quarterback. That's my quarterback. All right. So okay, we got that was like 10 minutes. We got the rumors, we got the gossip out of the way. This is TDL. We're doing tape study. We're doing some tape breakdowns. So why don't we transition and start heading towards that direction? Okay, so today I'm doing Bryon Young. Raiders picked him 3rd round, defensive lineman. Let's see, it is round 3, pick 70. So comfortably top 100. Yeah, 70 and 100. Pick 100. Right, 30 picks after that into the 3rd round. Tre Tucker, wide receiver for Cincinnati. So before we jump into this, I think I'll go first because Bryon Young was picked first. So we'll just go chronologically.
And I would say he's probably projected to play too. I think he's going to play.
Bryon Young is going to play, guys. He's going to play.
Yeah.
For sure. So okay, so my initial thoughts, and then when I fully did the breakdown and I fully got into it, I am definitely I've just gone up higher and higher on Bryon Young, and I like him more and more as a player the more I watch of him.
Okay.
Curious, what are you getting similar ideas or feelings about Tre Tucker from watching the tape, or how do you feel about that?
I think I like Tre Tucker a lot better than I really didn't know Tre Tucker, to be honest. Right. So it's kind of like I was a little bit more familiar with Bryon Young when they drafted him. So and there's some things to like about him. I didn't like that he wasn't that explosive as a pass rusher, but he kind of was the pass rusher for Alabama. But they moved him around a little bit. But it just things like that. So I mean, maybe you show some things. And I think even Matt was a little lower on Bryon Young, but then after they drafted him and after watching more film and doing a more deep dive, he started to like him a little bit more too. So definitely see it there. Tre Tucker was more like kind of I went in there blind. I had no idea, really no clue. You know what I mean? So when I went in there, it's kind of just so. I guess it was more interesting. People ask me like, should they have taken him at 100? I still say no, just based on some of the other things we'll talk about. That just. I mean, is he ever going to be able to clean those things up? Because I don't know. I haven't looked at his total athleticism score. Maybe we could pull that up, or I'll pull that up while you're going over Bryon Young. But, he just – we'll talk about it a little bit more. But it's just some things that he does that, he's going to have to work on and try to figure out how he's going to win, basically, versus man coverage. I think that's kind of the knock against him. Zone, he's awesome. Tony's great.
I also just wonder how Tre Tucker is going to get on the field. Is he a return man? Maybe.
This is about the film. I think he's because he has great hands. Awesome man. He had 10 drops in 4 seasons at Cincinnati. So this couple years he didn't have a drop at all. So he had 6 this year, was his highest in his career. You could say maybe he got the most targets, got the most drops, but I think I don't know. I would kind of want to see that because I think he just catches everything. So I think that's a good thing. I think he's a really smart player. So I kind of changed my mind on him a little bit, just how smart he is.
Okay.
And I think he could play slot. It's just, you do need slot receivers to win one-on-one coverage sometimes. So that's all. That's kind of the thing with him.
Tre Tucker came in at 5'8" and 7/8. I am the exact same height. I know how crushing it is to be 1/8 inch away from 5'9". It's so Tre Tucker. I understand, bro. He's extremely small, 28-inch arms and 8 5/8" hands. We're talking about 10th percentile and lower height and weight and length scores. But at his pro day, around a 4.3 in the 40. It's got a 1.48 10-yard split at the combine, which is 94th percentile. So I some things that you talked to me about Tre Tucker, and we'll keep on talking about him when you get to the breakdown. But I think linearly, I think he's very explosive.
Mm-hmm.
But we'll see about going side to side.
Exactly.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
So we'll just get into Bryon Young, man. Let's go ahead and get into it.
Okay.
And check him out.
Okay, so we're gonna go over Bryon Young. First things first, I like to talk about run defense. We're gonna go down every single gap. Okay, so defending the C gap, we're talking about playing end. We're talking about setting the edge. Okay, and so we see the thing about Bryon Young. I want you to watch his upper body. Very strong hands and arms. When he puts them on to a guy, he can really lock out. You see him doing a great job getting that extension, finding the ball carrier, okay, setting that hard edge, okay, maybe the ball carrier gets a yard, it looks like a, minimal gain there. Here's another one, setting the edge for Bryon Young. This time we got a full zone. They are, all the way wide zone. We're trying to get like a little sweep action here. And Bryon Young, 47. Watch him again. Land the hands and watch him drop his weight down. Okay. He's keeping that eye on the ball carrier. Gets all the way out there on the edge again. Does a phenomenal job playing on the edge, setting the edge. And sometimes you got to take on blockers too. We got a funky looking blocking scheme here where we got the guard and the tight end pulling around. He realizes what's happening. If he sets this wrong, he's gonna leave a big wide open hole. So he makes the first guy miss and then spills the second guy right to the open arms of number 10. That's exactly what it's supposed to look like. I know he didn't make the tackle, guys. There's 11 guys, not all 11 guys are gonna make the tackle every single time. You got to have other guys doing their job, and that's what he does right here. So playing on the edge, defending the C gap in the run game, actually saw some really good things from him. But let's get over to defending the B gap, okay? And I think that this is more likely where he is going to be in the NFL and in the Raiders defense, okay? He's going to be lined up outside shade or inside shade of the tackle, but in this B gap between the guard and the tackle here. And something that we are going to be doing and seeing a lot from Bryon Young. First of all, we saw it already with him setting the edge. I want you to watch his hands and his arms. We're going to get this full lockout. You see how one arm is all he needs to get that full lockout. He is a very strong man. Okay. And then what you need to do in the NFL is it's not enough just to stay in your gap. You are going to need to rip across and get in on those tackles. Okay, and so this is called playing a gap and a half. And if teams are going more too high, they're having their safeties back. You need extra gaps defended in the run game. How are you going to do it without an extra man? You do it by playing a gap and a half. Bryon Young has a lot of film. We're just going to go through it right here. Here's another one. Again, watch him land those hands. Look at this guy's head. Look at 62's head. Just go straight back. Okay, Bryon Young is a strong man. Okay, he keeps his head in his gap, realizes the ball carrier is turning it up. He's going to rip across. He could probably get off that a little quicker than that, but that's the general idea. Again, finds the ball carrier, rips across, gets in on the tackle, playing again. He's sitting in the B gap and now rips across into the A gap to get in on that tackle. This is how it's supposed to look here. Here's another really great example of him landing those hands. Look how strong this guy is. Look, the pad level. He's going to get that full lockout. He's getting doubled. He lowers his weight. Look, see the hips? Dropping the hips. Okay. Finds that ball carrier, gets in on the tackle. This is exactly where they want to go, and he's making it really hard for this blocking scheme to get any push on him or get to the second level because he's doing that. And this one goes away. I believe this is a little RPO, but I just want you guys to watch. This is how it's supposed to look. Bryon Young plays the run, realizes what's happening, rips across, but it's an RPO. It ends up being a pass. But you see, if that ball carrier gets the ball right there, he rips across right there and he tackles that guy. So that's what it's supposed to look like. Now, what about the A gap? So Bryon Young, we've already seen him defending the C gap out there as an end. We've seen him playing defensive tackle. Now we're going to see him get down and all the way in the A gap, playing inside. If he ever does make a play, usually it's because he's shooting these gaps. He's using maybe a little bit better athleticism than an NFL guard or a center, right? So he'll use that quickness, shoot these gaps when he's playing in the interior, when he's playing in a 2-eye, when he's playing in a shade. We see him here. Another great example. Okay. Kind of anticipating it, reading that, and just being a better athlete than the guys who were trying to block him. So that's a good example of it. Okay. This is another really good example of reading these blocking schemes. He's seeing the zone. He realizes, okay, this 51's trying to come out. They're trying to do a little pin and pull here. So the center's going to try to come out. Let me engage the center. So he goes and he puts a contact on the center. And because he has his eyes in the backfield, he's able to come off that and make that tackle in the A gap, playing in the A gap. All right. But that being said, he is kind of a tweener guy. Okay. I want you to watch these reps. When teams wanted it the most, and when Bryon Young was lined up in this A gap and they were just going to run the ball straight down their throats, you see 51, who has lower pad level, the center, or Bryon Young. 51 gets up underneath him, drives him all the way back. You see him. He's fighting for dear life here. When they really needed it the most, I don't know if you can really count on Bryon Young to play nose tackle for you in the NFL. And then there's just a couple of ones I wanted to show you guys. I mean, here, he's lined up in the A gap again. He's going to stunt out wide here, but you see him just get dropped. Okay.
Good Lord, damn.
Okay. By the way, if this guy didn't get drafted this year, okay, he is legit. I was watching this guy dominate Alabama. This Arkansas right tackle. He is legit. All right. So now let's get into the pass rush. Biggest thing. Well, actually, no. We'll talk about his contain rush first. Sorry. So as a contain rusher, Bryon Young is actually pretty solid. Okay, he's got some good moves, but more than anything, he's got great awareness for the quarterback. And this is something that guys do so often when they are contained rushing. They just run all the way right past the quarterback, and the tackle just takes them for a ride all the way past the quarterback. Biggest key with the contained rush is that you can never get deeper in the pocket than the quarterback is. And so Bryon Young here realizes, I'm getting a little deeper than the quarterback is. The quarterback's starting to step up in the pocket. So watch him. Instead of just running all the way around the corner here, he's going to put his foot in the ground, come back around, put a hit on that quarterback. And again, so this is a contained rush. He's making sure he has awareness of the quarterback and not getting too far upfield. That's also a phenomenal play by that quarterback. So here he's unblocked. He's got a little bit of juice. I think biggest thing is he's just making this an easy corner for him to turn. He's got a little bit of juice. First couple steps, he might have some quickness.
That's a great throw for a future Raiders quarterback right there. Just kidding.
Oh yeah, this is who we're getting, huh?
No, the previous one, but keep going. My bad.
Okay. All right, so here's another one of him, very similar to what we saw Tyree Wilson lining up kind of inside of this tackle, realizes it's a pass. Okay, now I got to get into my contained rush. So he's at a disadvantage already just based on his alignment. He's going to go ahead, watch his hands. You see his hands? Look at the hand fighting. He's going to pick that hand up off this guy. Man, look at these moves. Okay.
He's a tough guy to block. He doesn't got a bunch of juice coming around that edge. Obviously, not a ton of bend, and we're going to get into that eventually. But we're seeing some moves: the hand fighting, okay, the pad level, things that he's doing, okay. But I can't lie to you guys. This is what the majority of Bryon Young's edge rushes look like. He's not an explosive, bendy guy, right? This next one's just going to show you kind of some of his limitations. He's going to go ahead and loop all the way around to the opposite side as a contained rusher in this stunt. And, watch him here. When he's going to put that foot in the ground and bend that corner, okay, is he a guy at 300 pounds, 295 pounds, whatever he is he a guy that's going to be able to get low, run around that edge like this consistently? I don't think so. But as far as I think this is the path for him playing early in the NFL, when he lines up as an interior rusher and he gets a two-way go on the guard, he can go either A gap or B gap on the guard. He is a dangerous rusher. He can be a dangerous rusher. I mean, this is just a bananas rep. Okay, we're stringing together multiple moves, several moves together. Okay, and sometimes he just shoots right into the backfield. On these, he's realizing, oh, you're gonna step inside. Okay, I'll step the other way, and I'll just get skinny in the hole and make you miss. Okay, not a lot of moves going on. It's just him being way better than those guys in front of him. Here's another one from a two-way go. We see him front the guy up. Okay, get into that bull rush. Eyes on the quarterback. Again, the awareness, the pocket awareness. Where's his quarterback going? Okay, get off of him. Get in on that tackle. Here's another one from the interior. Great pocket awareness. Okay, getting off that guy. Now, he had a couple really good ones in this Arkansas game as far as getting that initial, again, reading the run. Okay, it's not going to be a run. Let me get off this. Okay, gets in the quarterback's face, forces him to run around. Number one is a lot better of an athlete than the guy that he was playing at Ole Miss. So number one made him miss a couple times. Here's another one. This is a awesome, fantastic rep. He just doesn't finish. But you're going to see, again, that zone blocking. We're getting a little play action, whatever it is. When he realizes it's a pass, look how quickly he's able to convert into a rush. Spins right up out of that. Beautiful move. Just misses. This guy's so slippery in the, number one, he's a really good athlete, this quarterback here. So misses that guy, even though that's a fantastic opportunity right there. But, this is what it looks like when maybe the quarterback isn't quite so slippery. He can get this guy on the ground. So Bryon Young, as far as here, let me remove this. As far as, you said he's going to play early. There's definitely things that this guy can do in a rotation. I don't think that he needs to be a starter early, but he is a polished football player. And on top of that, there's things that he's going to be able to do day one that he doesn't even need to even get better at. And he could make a contribution to this team. So I see a lot of positives there from Bryon Young playing the run. I would say from 3 technique out, he can play the run, and we shouldn't be too worried about it. I think he could definitely make a big impact, especially with how strong his upper body is and how he's able to lock out on guards and tackles. With the arms, I think it's like 34-inch arms, like 11-inch hands. It's like he's a big guy. He's a very big guy. Obviously, we saw him defending the run and then in the A gaps. And is he a nose guard in the NFL? No, he's not a nose guard in the NFL. Probably won't be there very much. And if he is, it's pass rushing situations. But I definitely saw a guy that can contribute as a rusher early on. And I don't want to say that this is not supposed to be hot takey, but I was just thinking about this. Tyree Wilson is obviously a better prospect than Bryon Young. He's a better athlete. Yeah. He's bigger, right? He's got all of this, right? And I know that people are going to take this the wrong way, but Bryon Young right now is a better football player than Tyree Wilson. He's not a better athlete. He's not a better prospect. Yeah. Tyree Wilson's going to play longer in the NFL as long as his foot's ever good and all that stuff, right? But Bryon Young has a lot more polish. There's a lot more moves. There's a lot more better pad level, and the fundamentals are just a lot stronger from Bryon Young. So it's almost like they got the guy that could really be something, and then they hedged it
and they got another guy who can step in and do all those things, maybe just solid. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
so if Tyree Wilson doesn't pan out, you got Bryon Young, and he might be okay. So
it's a good way to put it, man. It's a good way to put it. Just in case if Tyree Wilson doesn't put it all together, which because definitely from both films that you showed, he's a lot raw.
Yeah, obviously.
It's terrible word to say, but yeah,
he's a lot more raw. The polish isn't there, the technique isn't there from Tyree Wilson. We saw, him struggle. The areas where he's struggling, he's making the same mistakes over and over again throughout the year. So who knows if his coaches were really drilling that, or if his coaches were just like, "Yo, Tyree, you're gonna be a first round pick. Just do whatever you want to do out there. We're, whatever it is, right?" Because
make it work.
Yeah, because in college, especially at the big programs, coaches are more valuable for their recruiting than their developing players. So so who knows how good the coaches are over there? But yeah, he'll definitely get. We'll see if Tyree Wilson fixes those things. Bryon Young obviously has things that he's got to work on too, and so, but Bryon Young, I just can see like this is a solid football player right now. He's a guy that could be in on the rotation early. But I'm not going to say he's going to make a bunch of sacks or anything like that. He'll be a hard hat rotational kind of guy for the Raiders, and hopefully plays out the entirety of his rookie contract and can add some interior pressure as well.
Yeah. It looks like there's some upside there from the film. So definitely watch different films that I did, because I watched like Texas and I think a couple other games. I didn't watch them.
I watched just about every Bryon Young game. The ones. Yeah, I know you're about to explain the problems that you had. The ones that were on Caddies, I just downloaded them all, and then I had some on Huddle that I watched, but I mostly just watched the ones on Caddies. Or I broke down the ones that were on Caddies. I know sometimes people are in the comments. They're like, "How'd you guys get this film?" It's not a secret. Go Caddies Cut Ups. Go online. It's not a secret. You just have to pay. What is it? How much do we pay a month? Like $5 a month or something like that? Not even that. It's like $3. It's like $3 a month. Yeah. It's not crazy at all.
Yeah, the Huddle was $25. That's the.
Oh, that's the Huddle. Yeah. We'll save the Huddle conversation for another day. We can give him one. We can give him one. Caddies. Just type in CADDYS.
Yeah, mine was different. I couldn't, there was no 2022 film to be found for Tre Tucker, unless I hit up the the film department.
Hey, University of Cincinnati. Yeah, you might have should tried.
I should have tried. I should have been like, "Hey, man, you got some film, bro. We drafted Tre Tucker. We tried to promote him. They might have gave me some. Right. They might have gave me some.
Right.
Some cut-ups or something like that. But so I got a little bit of broadcasting here. We haven't had a broadcast. This is like the first episode that we've done like 3 years ago. But I mixed it up. There is some broadcasting.
We had to do it.
I had to do it, man. I had to do it for the people. The people need some Tre Tucker. But I do have the 2021 film. The Huddle. We talk about Huddle. They have every Cincinnati game from 2021. But I guess since Ritter's gone, we don't want to watch.
They were like.
We don't want Cincinnati no more. You couldn't give me no 2022, nothing. I'm trying. You don't like Central Florida's defense at all? Like there's no defense in the AAC that you like? No defensive coach? Coach Foss? No. No.
We're not getting no cover in the American Conference in the Huddle, bro.
No Memphis defense, bro. Nothing. Nobody. No Memphis coach he knows against it. No. So
that's a good point. Memphis has a good offense. So we should have.
Yeah, right. Or something. I don't know. Give me something. But so we went over Tre Tucker. So basically, we go over his game, go over him in the slot. We're talking about his toughness and his hands, and then we're going to go over his separation, and of course, so everything in the slot, his deep speed, all that stuff. We're going to go over that. Some of the routes that he's going to be probably running with the Raiders. And he played slot 96% of the time last season. And basically his whole time in college, so that's where he plays. It's not really a debate whether he could play outside or not. You talked about his size and all that stuff. There's really no debate where he's going to play. So
yeah,
he's a slot receiver. So let's just get into it.
All right.
So we'll start off with this first one. I'll talk about like him working the zone. So one thing you want to see from slot receivers a lot is how they work in between zone coverage and how they find holes. And this is something that Tre Tucker does extremely well. He's a very good slot receiver when it comes to finding zones and what they say, make yourself available to quarterback as a slot receiver, because you're really like an outlet type of player when you play in the slot. So here he is, right? I get some zone coverage here. You see he's able to, find this hole, get into the hole right here, make himself available to Desmond Ridder, make a nice catch right there between that quarter's coverage. So go back a little bit. You talk about his stiffness a little bit. You can kind of see it with the way he, his start and stop. So like basically he's getting full acceleration. It's not as easy for him to, there's a lot of steps there, right? A little bit. So
yeah.
But we'll talk about that a little bit later. But this is him like getting in between these zones, finding that hole, understanding where he's at in the field, coming back to the football for the quarterback, makes a play, right? So here's another one right here. He's there at the top, working the slot, right? So he's going to come in here, and you're going to see he's going to get right here in the middle of the zone, and this is mesh, right? So he has the choice whether he could keep going here or he could stop between the zones. But of course, like I said, he's smart. He reads it correctly. Right, stops the mesh, right with the read of the quarterback, right in between the zone, right there, gets some yak, and it shows a little stiffness right here again because he doesn't get a lot of yak here naturally by making people miss. But just watch this one more time. This is what I really like about him, because he does this a lot, guys. Right there, find himself right there in the middle of the slot, make himself available to the quarterback. Now, of course, main thing that he brings to the table is the 4.3 speed, and he's going to be able to take the top off the defense against off coverage. I mean, against certain players, they're not going to be able to handle his speed when he just gets full acceleration. He gets there really, really fast, right? He accelerates, probably has some track background in a little bit because he's able to get downfield so quickly. And this is something the Raiders like to do. They like to run these seam routes. And like I said, he reads these well too. When he's running these dagger concepts or whatever concept they want to run at Cincinnati, he understands when he's supposed to take it up, when he's supposed to stay straight line. So you see, he just gets up on this slot cornerback really quickly. This guy's not even ready for it. He's already passed him. Of course, Ridder is going down here on the dagger concept because they are running dagger, but like I said, it's too high, so he knows he's going post route, right, on the dagger concept, right? Same concept. Ridder comes down here on the dagger, which, I don't blame him. He totally missed it, but not a bad read because it is a clear out, right? But you kind of see that, he's familiar with these type of concepts and he understands how to run them. So he sees too high, I go inside, just like what the Raiders run on their dagger. Turns it into a post route. You see the speed of him getting deep there.
Oh, yeah.
Right. And then here's another one. This is him, really showing his toughness and what I really like about him here. But this is him getting deep, tracking the football really well with the ball in the air. So, right. So he's getting up on the safety. And he's going to hit this double move on the safety. You get that separation there, which what I love on this one is that he has this other corner on top of him, right? He does a good job of finding that football and coming down with it in traffic.
Wow.
Like, it doesn't look like he would have caught that ball. You lose him to the corner and he comes down with it. So, one more time. Just kind of watch this route one more time. Because even a little bit on the double, kind of see a little bit of the route running concern because it just takes so much time to stop on the double move. But he's just so fast. He runs right past that safety. Makes a great catch. So like I said, man, there's a lot to like with him. I mean, from a slot receiver perspective, which, I mean, the NFL, you play a lot of zone coverage. I mean, there's going to be some teams, they're playing way more zone coverage than they usually used to. Used to be a more man league. It's turned into a more zone league. Even though some teams do mix in a lot of man with it, you're going to get a lot of these opportunities for him to have these, these free releases, right? And he can run these seams and these over routes and these deep routes, right? Like, and I love his catch and traffic ability, just his hands and concentration in traffic, just for how small he is. This is a tiny guy, man. Right? And this is a big hit area. And he's just fearless over the middle. Pop, you just lose him. But he came down with the football. See him here just running that seam right there. Right in between the zone. And like I said, this is awesome, him reading zones too. You can see he knows exactly where the zone opening, right where the quarterback's going to throw him the football. He's already looking back. He's understanding and knows when to stop, knows when that ball's coming, able to read it, track it, make a catch. Kind of a little bit, ball's a little bit thrown behind him. You see it from this angle here. You're kind of seeing why Desmond Ritter went third round a little bit. But that's just a great catch in traffic right there. Understanding, he's about to get hit, so he protects the football. Great catch.
Yeah.
This is my favorite catch of him on tape. This one. So we're getting another free release here against zone coverage. It's him one-on-one in the safety. The safety takes him when he's running that over route, and he just elevates and just catches the ball. He just wanted the ball more than the safety wanted it. Look at that.
That's a hell of a play, yeah.
That's a hell of a catch. He's just fearless over the middle, man. It doesn't even matter who it is, when it is, who's gonna hit him. He is going to catch that football. He catches everything. He has really great hands for how small his hands are too. And for him to have the drop rate that he had in his career, only 8% drop rate with those small hands. And look at that elevation. Tiny hands, like I could knock the ball out of his hands. Nope. First down. Here's another one in traffic against Central Florida. He had 10 catches in this game. This is from 2022. This is another one in between the zone. No, he's about to get hit. Pop. Hold on to the football. It's consistent.
Yeah.
So he's tough. This is a tough guy, man. He blocks too. I don't like watching wide receivers block that much, but he blocks too. He's a tough dude. This is not a joke right here.
For the record, Marcus loves watching wide receivers block. Just not college wide receivers.
No,
we ain't watching that.
And that's what I'm talking about. He catches everything, right? This is another diving catch right here. I'll tell you everything. Behind him, below him, it doesn't matter. He's catching the football. Here's another one. All right, so here we talk about. All right, let's talk about route right here because we're talking about how he runs routes. Okay, and I think this is my biggest gripe with him, and why I think maybe they drafted him a little too high. All right, because when you're a slot receiver, there is gonna be some times you have to win one-on-ones, and this isn't a one-on-one, but I just want to watch him how he runs this route a little bit, right? And you kind of see the stiffness. You kind of see how he rounds this route off. He's rounding look at the depth that he changed right there. And that's not how they want this route run. Let's keep it real, right? They want a little bit more sharpness out of this route. He's rounding it off all the way to the 20-yard line on an out route, right? You kind of can even see where Ritter places this football. It's more for him to come back, and he's supposed to be on more of an inline, but he rounds the route off. It doesn't work like that. All right, so this is another one too. Here he is lined up in the slot right here, right there. And he has the one-on-one right here with this safety, right? They're playing man-to-man. Central Florida play a lot more man-to-man than a lot of their teams against him. So you see this one-on-one. I mean, this guy really doesn't have too much outside leverage, right? So you figure, with his speed and, you saw some of the athleticism that he'd be able to win this route, right? But kind of see here, he kind of breaks down. I know it's really hard to see, guys, but he kind of breaks down. It really doesn't give this guy anything. And 12, we don't know if 12 is going to play on Sundays. He might be a first-round pick. I don't know who he is, right? But he just locked him down. He didn't go anywhere. There's no separation here on this throw. That's lockdown city right there. Mm-hmm. And that guy might be the best safety in college football. I don't know. But I don't know who he is. And he just locked it down like that. So, and press coverage too. Here's another rep too against press coverage. he doesn't always win, and when he doesn't win, you can't see the speed, right? So the speed kind of gets tied down. So against free releases, you can see how fast he can accelerate, but against press coverage, here this guy doesn't even put his hands on him, right? But he understands if I just stay on top of him a little bit, like 31 right here, like he's on top of him. There's just really nowhere. He doesn't get separation. He doesn't beat him. He doesn't win off the line to get that type of separation. And then these guys are able to make plays on the football like that, right? So you kind of see like he really doesn't give him anything on the release. His release isn't against press. It's kind of just straight up and he's running. You saw even a little bit of a false step there. How he goes backwards a little bit before he goes forward. And he's not able to accelerate that well against press. It's kind of the issue that Henry Ruggs had when he first came to the league that he got better at going. So, I mean, if he puts the work in, which, you know, they really think he can get better at these things. These are things he can get better at. But you see here, once again, this is the last play we go over of him not being able to kind of win at the line of scrimmage against press coverage and guys not fearing his speed. So like this safety right here, I mean, that's a safety. That's a big dude. I don't know who that is, but that's a safety on him one-on-one that just not even getting any separation against him. Right. And it's really because he really didn't win off the line here.
Well, I mean, okay. There's definitely, he didn't give him much, but then is that a rocker step? Did we get a head fake, a nod at the top of the route? You know,
no, there's really nothing. You really didn't give him anything.
Maybe he's like, I'm not getting the ball on this play. Maybe that's what he's thinking.
Okay.
Because
maybe, I don't know. Maybe on that one. But there is a lot of things I like about him, though. I think there is a future for him playing slot in the NFL. I think when you're that smart and you're that intelligent and like the zone coverages and finding holes in the zones and understanding things, I think he's going to pick up the offense probably pretty quickly too, just from, you know, how type of player he is and how he plays in the slot. I think there is a future for him in the NFL. I think how high that future is how much better does he get as a route runner. I think he has to perfect that. He just can't. He's not going to just blow past people in the NFL. You're going to see a lot more of that press coverage. Even when they're playing zone, you're going to see a lot more press. And he's going to have to stay on top of those. He's going to have to beat those guys off the line. And he's got to find different ways to do that. Maybe he's got to work on that. But you kind of see these a little stiff. He's able to, you know, even at the Senior Bowl, when you saw some of his routes at the Senior Bowl, there was a lot of stopping. I was trying to probably get some Senior Bowl clips in here, but I couldn't get back into that website. But you see at the Senior Bowl sometimes there's like a lot of choppiness at the top of his routes at the Senior Bowl, and he wasn't creating that much separation for that speed.
Exos would take this down from YouTube immediately if they found out you had Senior Bowl footage, bro. I can't stand them.
I know.
They take down everything. So what? Yeah, I like how you're highlighting first of all the toughness, right? Like that's his trump card, right? Like obviously he's a really good mover, but you know, guys who run 4.4s and in the NFL, there's a lot of them, and the majority of them are even bigger and more explosive than him even. So it's not like he's like that unique. We can't say, oh, he's got the speed, he's got the wheels or something like that. Yeah, he's definitely a fast guy, but he's not like an NFL standards. He's not like blazing fast or anything like that, right? So
yeah,
he's not out there running 4.2s or something like that. He's not an Olympic sprinter or something like that, right? But the explosiveness, definitely saw it. But when you're talking about like, okay, he's small, he's not a great route runner, it's the toughness that I think that's where when we think about Tre Tucker, if he doesn't play a ton, but he has some of those tough catches, like in clutch moments, crucial moments throughout the year, Raiders fans are going to be like, great pick at 100. And he just got to make a couple of those tough catches like he was doing, where safeties are like hitting him, he's like flying like 5 yards, but he holds onto the catch. He gets a first down. Bro, you think Raiders fans are going to forget that? They're going to be like, this guy is the GOAT, okay, if he does that. So I think it was smart of you to highlight that because it's definitely a calling card of his game. And it gives him a chance to make a contribution, even if maybe he's still working on, getting that separation, his release package, the route running. It looked very basic. I agree with you on that.
Yeah, yeah, and I think that's kind of the biggest aspect of his game is maybe why he wasn't getting enough buzz because with kind of the speed that he has, you would hope that he'd be able to create some separation in the slot against safeties. I mean, some of those guys were, they weren't the fastest guys in the world. He wasn't creating separation against them, especially against Central Florida when they were playing a lot of man-to-man against them and they're coming up playing press and you got a safety on, Tre Tucker, you'd hoping that he'd be able to burn that guy deep no matter what, So and he saw all those guys staying on top of him or, kind of not being faked out by him and able to just kind of just knock the passes away. So, and I think it's pretty consistent that you saw on tape when he faced that. So, but yeah. Yeah, I still think he has a chance to be a good player because, like I said, the first time he goes over the middle and he catches that ball and he gets knocked, his like helmet falls off or something. He comes up and throws first down.
Right. Raiders fans, they're not going to remember anything that you said once that happens. Wasn't Marcus hating on Tre Tucker? He had like 4 catches for 60 yards this year. They were all first downs.
All first downs while getting hit in the middle of the field.
Yeah. So that was we've covered now the first 4 draft picks, and then you also have an Aiden O'Connell video up.
Yes.
So we got 5 guys. I'm gonna go ahead and I'll take a look at these. Who else we got? We got to cover Jacorian Bennett, definitely.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And then Christopher Smith was technically picked above Amari Burney, but it sounds like people are a lot more excited about the linebacker from Florida than the safety from Georgia. If we're not going to go ahead and get another episode in covering the draft, I can definitely get a couple of these guys up on the channel, some breakdowns.
Okay.
What do you think? Because
because
you already know O'Connell. Yeah,
they didn't draft any offensive players after that.
Right.
So, I'm tapped out here, guys. I got Aiden O'Connell up. Gotta check that out. Aiden O'Connell versus Michigan.
Marcus had to go through American Conference broadcast for you guys, so you should definitely be thanking Marcus for that. Also, the defenses in the American Conference are strange. Some of the looks that I was seeing Tre Tucker, I was like, what defense are they doing? They definitely have the weirdest defenses for sure in ball.
Yeah.
That conference.
Yeah. You gotta stop the pass, bro. Gotta stop that pass.
Yeah, right. And they are trying for sure. They're not saying, "Oh, we're just gonna play what we've always played." Like they are coming up with some weird things over there. All right, that's for another episode. Anything else that we need to cover before we get up out of here? It's almost
no, man. I think we got everything. We got the picks. We talked a little Davante Adams mess, and then that's it, man. That's it.
All right, sounds good, man. Sounds good.
All right, guys. We're out of here. I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. Like I said, make sure you go check out Aiden O'Connell. I got more film. If you get upset that it ended on interception, my one on the membership does not end on an interception. It's longer than that. There's more throws too. So
don't cry. It's out there. Yeah.
So if you become a member, it won't end on interception. So check that one out, and then of course, we'll do some more membership stuff. I'll probably do some more focus just on Tre Tucker and mix it up. And of course, I still got, some more stuff to do with some of these other players. So we'll definitely check us out, guys, for sure. I got some MRI killing me here on the show. But any last words, BD?
That's it for me, guys. I'll let you.
All right. Peace.